Salam hörmətli tələbələr. Bugün mən Məbudova fəxriyə Mingəcevir Dövlət Universitetinin Xarici Dillər Kafedrasının 2-ci kurs magistrantı sizə dərs keçəcəm. The theme of our lesson is there is, there are, and modal verbs. The aim of our lesson is to learn new grammar material, to improve speaking and grammar skills, to practice it doing exercises. Today we are going to study the phrases there is and there are. Let's start there is and there are in the affirmative. To say that something exists somewhere, we usually use there is with singular nouns. For example, there is a pen on the table. Remember to use contractions to say it more natural. So you can say there is a pen on the table. And we use there are with plural nouns. For example, there are some books in the bag. Let's see more examples. There is and there are in the affirmative. There is some water in the cup. There is a lot of money in my wallet. There are 2 cats on the floor. There are a lot of keys in the garden. Now let's look at there is and there are in the negative. To say that something is not exist somewhere, we usually use there is not with singular nouns. For example, there is not any sugar in this coffee. And with the contractions, there isn't any sugar in this coffee. And there are not with plural nouns. For example, there are not any trains on Sunday. Or there aren't any trains on Sunday. Remember that we use the word any in the negative. But there is another way we can use there is and there are in the negative. Instead of there isn't any or there aren't any, we can say there is no and there are no. For example, there is no work at the office. There are no good films on TV. Now, let's look at more examples with there is and there are in the negative. There isn't a garage. There aren't any trees in the yard. There isn't a fence. There aren't a lot of neighbors. What about questions? Now we look at there is and there are in the interrogative. In questions, the verb goes first. There is becomes is there, and there are becomes are there. For example, is there a TV in the bedroom? Are there armchairs in the hall? Let's look more examples of there is and there are in the interrogative. Is there a football stadium in your city? Are there 5 cinemas? Is there a big park? Is there a TV in your room? Are there 3 toys on your bed? Is there a lamp on your desk? And etc. Now, let's review. There is a book on the table. There are books on the table. It is affirmative sentence. And the negative sentence, there is no book on the table. There are no books on the table. And interrogative sentence, is there a book on the table? Short answers with there is and there are. Remember, in the English language, you cannot say simple yes or no. For example, yes there is, no there isn't. Are there books on the table? Yes there are, no there aren't. There is plus singular noun. For example, there is a book on the desk. There are plus plural noun. There are books on the desk. There is plus uncountable noun. There is some milk in the fridge. in the negative, there isn't plus singular noun. For example, there isn't a pen on the table. There aren't plus plural noun. There aren't any pens here. And there isn't plus uncountable noun. There isn't any juice in the fridge. And in the interrogative, there is a cat on the chair. Is there a cat on the chair? There are cats on the sofa. Are there cats on the sofa? Now let's speak about there is and there are in the past. There was is the past tense of there is and it's only used in singular. For example, there was a student in the room. There were is the past tense of there are and it's only used in plural. For example, there were many students in the room. Let's look at the examples. There was a pen on the table. There was some water in the cup. And there was a lot of money in my wallet. There were some books in the bag. There were 2 cats on the floor. And there were a lot of keys in the garden. Let's look at the negative form in the past. There was no pen on the table. There was not any water in the cup. There was not much money in my wallet. And there were no books in the bag. There were not any cats on the floor. There were not many keys in the garden. And interrogative form, was there a table in the room? Were there any children in the yard? Now let's do some exercise. Make up interrogative sentences. The first one, there is a doll on the table. Now let's make, is there a doll on the table? The next one, there are 3 pictures on the wall. Are there 3 pictures on the wall? There is a pupil at the blackboard. Is there a pupil at the blackboard? There are books in the bag. Are there books in the bag? Now, complete with there is and there are. Please do it at home. What modal verbs do you know? The modal verb expresses the attitude of the speaker to the reality, possibility, or probability of the action he speaks about. The modal verbs are can, could, may, might, must, have to, should, shall, will, would, and etc. What modal verbs do we use in different situations? How do we use the modal verbs? There are some rules for modal verbs. Add not after the verb is used to make a verb negative. Modal verbs come before the subject in questions. Modal verbs do not change form according to the tense. Infinitive verbs without to are used right after the modal verb. The modal verb can. It means bacarmaq, bilmək. For example, he can find any street in London. You can take a taxi. Can you take me to Victoria Station? Be able to. It's an equivalent of can. He is able to find any street in London. Edə bilmək, bacarmaq mənasını verir. Can't. The negative form of can. That story can't be true. Could. Bu can'in keçmiş zaman formasıdır. I could play tennis when I was younger. Could you take me to Victoria Station? You could take a taxi. May. May ola bilmək icazəsi olmaq mənası verir. It may be quicker to travel by train. May I come in? Might. May'in keçmiş zaman formasıdır. For example, it might be quicker to travel by train. Must. İngilis dilində daha çox istifadə olunan modal feillərdən biri də must'dır. Must müəl mənasını verir. Məcburiyyət mənasında işlənir. You must be back at 10 o'clock. Look at the snow. It must be cold outside. Have to. Must'ın ekvariyyətlərindən biridir. You have to be back at 10 o'clock. Need to. Need ehtiyacı olmaq mənasını verir. You need to study a lot. Needn't. You needn't have a university degree. Mustn't. You mustn't drive without a license. Don't have to. You don't have to call a taxi. Should. Should da must'ın ekvariyyətlərindən biridir. Məsləhət mənasında işlənir. You should drive more carefully. Və must'ın digər bir ekvivalenti ought to. For example, you ought to drive more carefully. Bu da müəl mənasını verir və gərək mənasında işlənir. There are some examples of modal verbs. We use them in different situations. The modal verb can. We use can to say that something is possible or that somebody has the ability to do something. For example, I can speak 4 languages. Can you hand me the pen? Can I help you? You can't smoke here. Smoking can cause cancer. Can I use your book, please? We use can plus infinitive, and the negative is can't or cannot. Be able to is possible instead of can, but can is more usual. Are you able to speak any language? Now, let's do some exercises. Use modal verbs where possible. If a modal verb can't be used with a certain tense, use its substitute. The first sentence, you get up early tomorrow. We can use it as you must get up early tomorrow. The second sentence, you call a babysitter. This is a negative form. That's why we must use you needn't call a babysitter. We may watch the film tonight. He cannot. Demək, bu cümlədə yesterday olduğuna görə biz can'ın artıq keçmiş zaman formasından could'dan istifadə etməliyik. He couldn't see me yesterday. The next sentence, she must. Burada must'dır, amma biz burada yesterday olduğuna görə də və biz bilməliyik ki, must hər bir zaman formasında eyni qalır və buna görə biz keçmiş zaman formasını onun have to variantından istifadə etməliyik və have to da bilirik ki, keçmiş zamanda had to olur. Ona görə də cümləmiz belə olmalıdır. She had to stay at school yesterday afternoon. The next sentence. Burada cümləmiz belədir. May you go to the disco yesterday? Biz bu cümlədə may'i bu formada yaza bilərik. Were you allowed to go to the disco yesterday? He mustn't sleep now. You needn't answer. And the last sentence, since he bought the new car, he has not been able to sleep. Now let's do other exercise. Put in can, can't, could, or couldn't. If none of these is possible, use be able to in the correct tense. These are the answers of these exercises. We can use it in this way. You swim when you were 10. Could you swim when you were 10? We couldn't get to the meeting on time yesterday because the train was delayed by 1 hour. The third sentence. He was able to arrive at the party on time, even after missing the train, so he was very pleased. The fourth sentence. He is amazing. He can speak 5 languages, including Chinese. I couldn't drive a car until I was 34. Then I moved to the countryside, so I had to learn. I looked everywhere for my glasses, but I couldn't find them anywhere. I searched for your house for ages. Luckily, I was able to find it in the end. The eighth sentence. She is 7 years old, but she can't read yet. Her parents are getting her extra lessons. The next one. I read the book 3 times, but I couldn't understand it. I read the book 3 times, but I couldn't understand it. Bu keçmiş zamanda olduğuna göre biz burada couldn't'dan istifadə edə bilərik. James could speak Japanese when he lived in Japan, but he's forgotten most of it now. This is for your home task. Do it at home, please. Thank you for your attention.